More young Singapore residents are staying single, according to the latest General Household Survey. Experts say one reason is that many young adults are caught up in the transition from education to career building, leaving little time to form relationships. Nearly 3 in 4 female residents aged 25 to 29 were single in 2025. Now, for men in the same age group, the number of singles rose to 85.9% in 2025.
The real crunch lies in that early stage, right? When you're in your 20s and 30s. So you have to, commit to education, then you have to commit to building your career so that you can experience a payback, right? A returns to your investment in education. And I think those are the critical years where we would like to see young adults in that age group, in their 20s especially, having more leisure and enjoying that leisure to expand their social networks.
The survey also shows resident households earning more. Households bringing in at least $12,000 a month rose to 51.6% in 2025. Meanwhile, the proportion earning $30,000 or more nearly doubled to 13.4%. Home ownership remained strong in 2025. More than 9 in 10 resident households were owner-occupied. And more Singapore residents are also becoming highly educated. The proportion aged 25 and above with post-secondary or higher qualifications jumped to 64.8% in 2025. And for more, Senior Research Fellow at the IPS Social Lab, Dr. Teo Kay Kee, joins me now with more. She's also lead researcher for the IPS Youth Steps study. Dr. Teo, great to have you with us. Now, the picture being painted here of young Singapore residents that are better educated, they're more career-focused, and also financially more independent, plus they're also marrying later or not at all. Is this an accurate picture in your view? And does it capture something about how adulthood is changing in Singapore?
Well, I think basically people are getting more educated. So with that in mind, they do need more years before they can finish their education. So in that sense, they definitely would be thinking about other milestones later in their life stage. And I think in Singapore, we do see a sign where people would say that, I'm not prepared to take the next step into forming a family yet because I've not done such and such. So that is some of the perceptions that young Singaporeans are going through when they think about whether they want to start a family yet. And that may be why we see later marriages as well.
Yeah, Prime Minister Lawrence Wong also previously laid out his vision for Singapore to embrace a wider definition of success beyond the traditional 5 Cs. Does this survey show a change in their views of success, or do you think it's still pretty much status quo?
Well, this survey actually looks a bit more at how they're doing in terms of their income, home ownership, and perhaps marriage and other aspects like religion. So in that sense, it's a little hard to make any definitive conclusions about whether it has widened the definition of success, though we are indeed seeing people getting more educated. So I think in that sense, the idea of having more education and more credentials is still quite strong in Singapore.
What does this mean then for how Singapore society approaches success? Do you think we're at risk of building a society where people are materially more secure, but then also relationally more challenged?
So I think it shouldn't be on two opposite ends of the spectrum. I think we can have both things at the same time. It's just really whether people are trying to achieve all these things all at once. So I think as Professor Strawn has mentioned earlier, people may be looking at things in a step-by-step process where they achieve the education or the career first before going to other steps. So it could be that they are delaying certain stages, but given the fact that majority are still married and have children, I think Singaporeans still do want to move on to that stage eventually as well.
So what are the longer term trade-offs here if these patterns continue, especially when it comes to loneliness, social support, even caregiving and aging as it goes along?
So I think we have all heard this, the most recent conversation on the low TFR. I think that is one implication. Um, well, in terms of aging and caregiving, definitely that would be something that society has to grapple with the changing social dynamics and perhaps living arrangements, where we see maybe more single single person families, or perhaps just a couple without children. So those things may require us to start rethinking caregiving facilities within the household, or within the perhaps apartment blocks that we can see that the government has also been thinking about already.
Dr. Teo, thank you so much for your insights. That was Dr. Teo Kee, who is a Senior Research Fellow at the IPS Social Lab.